On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Bennett and Mike are sitting down to talk about drones. Just drones. But not necessarily, I wouldn't say just drones. But, a lot's going on in the world. We've got AI that's talking with one another and all of this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because all of my civilian friends, my American patriotic friends, and we're having a conversation, and oh man, Skynet and the Terminator and all of these other different things. And I'm like, you really want something to worry about? You should worry about them drones. Right? So it's always like some other segue conversation.
What's crazy is, so let's delineate though that there is a difference in drones. Like, yes, drones is kind of a blanket statement, right? Yep. So you've got things like unmanned combat aerial vehicles, right? Like UAVs, like Predators and Global Hawk and Jesus, I don't even know how many different kinds that we have now, but there's a shit ton. I mean, we even have the ones that like the Raven that BAE made that's a fucking like stealth.
Right.
And so, I don't know a lot about drones. I know enough, but I know that basically every major, power within the world, in essence, has got them.
Oh yeah.
Everybody from Israel to Italy to China to the UK, France, Sweden, all of NATO basically. India, Iran, which they probably stole from us. I just remember that drone that went down in Iran, and I guess that whatever drone they've got looks a hell of a lot like ours.
Well, so it's funny though, because my distinction, they're all UAVs, right? They're all unmanned aerial vehicles as far as I'm concerned. But then you've got the drone aviation world that we see in, call it civilian-based avionics, right? And those are manned drones. It doesn't have an autopilot on it, kind of a deal. And then you have the more sophisticated type, which is position yourself towards this location on the Earth based on all of these other known variables. A computer can fly it automatically. So those are the two distinctions, essentially, that I put. You have an unmanned flying object or flying vehicle that can be ran by a computer, and then you have drones like we've got over here, where in column A, essentially, they're manned by a pilot, by someone who's on the ground going around doing whatever, right? And so those two different distinctions are very clearly defined in my brain. Automatic AI, not so good, in my own opinion, as in comparison to a physical human being is actually steering the thing, and if that physical human being isn't around to steer it, it drops back down to the earth. So, but I wanted to personally bring up drones because I've seen drones on the battlefield, and not just your Dragoneye flying overhead or your Predator or something like that. The other drones. And I think a lot of veterans who were in Iraq, let's say, between 02 and 06, somewhere in there. We weren't in Iraq in 02. Bullshit, motherfucker. You don't know your history. All right, so between 02 and 06, somewhere in there. Dude, I'm telling you, one time we were in a firefight in Ramadi, and, I was the driver. You can't leave the truck or anything. And so we were on the end of one of the cordons. Being lead truck driver, you're always going to be essentially on the end of one of the cordons. And no shit, I'm just sitting there. It's the middle of the night, and this flying drone comes like out of the sky, essentially, and drops down into the intersection, which was slightly lit. Anybody who's been in Iraq sees the spider webs of, call it power cord. It's basically comm wire that's just spider webbed out of the generator to everybody's home. And you've got this single light bulb with this weird looking drone, like, just flying around the streets of Ramadi. Like, where the fuck did that thing come from? Who was operating that? Whose is that? I have no idea. Still have no idea who the hell that was. Did we have drone support in? What is this thing? It's a hovering. It was before all of that shit existed. Or so we thought. I didn't know that we had hover drone capability, could manipulate itself all the way through the Ramadi alleyways, and I did not know that shit existed until I saw it flying through the battlefield. Let me tell you what, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. I wouldn't say that it scared me, but it was like, what the fuck is that thing? It's, that is a defined, unidentified flying object. I even asked the gunner, I asked Willie, I was like, Willie, what the fuck is that thing? He's like, I don't know, drone or some shit. And I think that was probably the first time that I ever heard the word drone. It was always a UAV. Like, oh, we're putting a UAV above, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we have a drone.
Well, it's 2005, the DOD adopted the term drone.
Yeah.
So that's the craziest vehicle now that they pretty much, it's not the craziest. That's not quite accurate.
They got some crazy shit.
Right now the Avenger drone is the main one. We still have the Predator and the Reaper, right? But the Avenger, that fucking thing, dude. It's got a jet engine, not a jet. It's a turbofan, so it's like a
Jesus.
And the thing can carry. The radar it carries, and it also carries a version of the F-35's electro-optical targeting system. So it carries the same targeting system as fucking, the Joint Strike Fighter.
Well, I think...
Which whether we like it or not, the military is going to. So,
well, yeah.
Wow. But it's pretty crazy.
See, I enjoy having drone support for secondary confirmation of a positively identified threat. So you've got, let's say, for instance, true story. We've got a couple of shitheads who are taking, like pot shots at us with mortars. Like, these are direct alignment by standing on the base plate and kind of eye-fucking the tube, so to speak, right? There's no sight on this bad boy. So we're taking 82s. Because, the Russians and the Chinese and all these other fuckers, they have to make 82 millimeter. We have an 81 millimeter. So when we capture their ammo, we can't use theirs, but they can use our ammo. Bastards! Anyway. True. That's another true factoid, by the way. Don't take my word for it. Look that shit up. So we're taking 82s. And we know that they're 82s, but they're inaccurate. And we have an FO with us. Well, anybody who knows anything, if you have an FO is JTAC qualified, and he was JTAC qualified, which means that he can take responsibility of putting ordnance on the deck, depending on what the ordnance is and depending on what the airframe is. But what was nice, though, is we had drones in support. You have 2 closed-circuit televisions, plus you have the Aviator, who are all identifying that as a positively identified threat. That will die. Whereas, prior to drone, you have Aviator in cockpit, FO on ground. If FO is not JTAC certified, Aviator takes responsibility. If JTAC or FAC is on the ground, FAC, forward air controller, takes responsibility, right? When you have drones in support, you can spread load the responsibility on what a positively identified threat is. So we know that we've got a couple of shitheads who are shooting 82s at us. Positively identified threat. Aviator comes through. I think it was just rockets, not rockets and guns. Just does another flyover for the battle damage assessment. Comes flying over. He's like, tube, parts of body. That is all. And then waves up. And you've heard me share that story before. But that was possible because we had drone technology to see it from multiple angles. To confirm, yes, those are bad guys. And then blew up only the bad guys. Not the hamlet next door, where all the good guys are, we suppose, where all the good guys are sleeping. Right there. So that's the other benefit of drones. That's the other huge benefit of drones. positively identifying your threat.
Yeah.
Is the number one
Especially
thing.
like in reconnaissance. For reconnaissance, it's an invaluable tool. I mean, let's be honest. It's fucking amazing to just, especially if you've got like those like little drones that like troops can like check on the other side of a hill with. Dude, that's amazing. It's just amazing. Or you've got a couple eyes in the skies and you're able to call on one to check, grid, blah, blah, blah. And it's an invaluable tool.
So let me ask you, this is
at least in combat. And then the civilian applications are pretty amazing too. One of the biggest things that I'm in, like I was saying to you earlier, the first actual Air Force unit to completely convert from fighters to unmanned, UAVs was an Air National Guard unit right here in Syracuse, which is the 174th Fighter Wing. They were getting rid of their F-16s and they replaced them with Reapers.
Wow. Right.
And it's still, now it's called the 174th Attack Wing. Wow. But pretty cool stuff. Like we see them flying over here all the time. And it's just cool. But I'm like really getting into the, and I have for a while, like really like been intrigued by the civilian applications / military applications. I mean, there's all kinds of uses for them. And so I had that conversation with our buddy Tim Parkhurst yesterday, and he just like it totally like flipped a switch in me again. And I mean, everything from like doing recon for hunting to crops to inspections of housing and all kinds of shit. And you're probably going to get I mean, it's one thing to have like your eyes on, but just think of like, with like contractor work, dude, since we are talking Hakoa, inspecting a home and you've got this crazy big house, right? Or building. And you've got this capability of this 4K recording device plus photo opportunities to go up and take high def photos that you can look at over and over and over again versus having an inspector there with eyes on. I mean, that's one thing, right? But how much time could be saved and resources could be saved by going through the photos first, and you're going to see if there's issues. Like there's the possibility of an issue here, so an inspector goes and does it. That's one of the things they're doing with the cell phone towers now.
Yeah.
Is because otherwise you got climbers.
Right.
And,
risk a drone to see where the problem is so that a man knows exactly where it is. Exactly
where to go to fix what the problem is.
Right.
Pretty cool.
So folks.
I mean, are you taking jobs away? I guess. I don't know. It's
I don't think so.
But at the end of the day,
No, you're putting another man in the team.
Especially if the guy that is the cell phone tower guy, right? Who's the go-to cell phone tower guy? Oh, it's Bob.
Ugh.
Well, Bob now stands on the bottom and checks it with the drone instead of, he might not even have to go up.
Right.
But those things have to be inspected one way or another, right? Every so often. I know this because my wife used to be in that business.
Oh, man. The thought of that.
She wasn't a climber. But
I do not want that job.
Right. I always thought it was kind of cool because I liked that type of stuff. I'm the guy that would climb to like the top of and have climbed to the top of a radio tower and like base jumped. Yeah. I'm not that guy anymore, but I was that guy. But so it's very intriguing. Right. That standing up on whatever, as long as I'm either tied off or have a parachute. Thank you. But
send a drone.
Of that, yeah. So really cool, right? So send a drone. Guy gets paid the same amount of money whether he checks it with a drone or Hey, just business opportunities, folks. Just saying.
Right. Well, then,
they're out there.
Folks, give us your comments. Tell us about your own drone stories and stuff like that. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. We're at Cigars and Sea, across social media. So primarily on Facebook, Twitter. We're also on LinkedIn. Check us out. And be sure to check out all of the other key players that we're hanging out and doing business with and swapping sea stories with, and Heroes Media Group, Spartan Media, Thomas McPherson over at McPherson Marketing. You'll hear more about this at the end of the show. These are all of our collaborators. Do we wish to have sponsors? Absolutely. If you're a sponsor out there and want to be a part of the show, by all means, get in touch with us right now. And since the inception of the show, we've been working with collaborators. We are purchasers of each other's services. So, earlier we mentioned Hocoa, Hocoa. Check them out, hocoa.5paragraph.com. You'll see the video on there if you're interested in 5paragraph or being a Hocoa unit owner. Check out hocoa.5paragraph.com. Hocoa, 5 like the number, not the word, 5, the digit, number 5, paragraph.com. Hocoa.5paragraph.com. Check that out. And it's interesting because on the subject of drones, I personally, if I was doing anything that was roofing or anything like that as a roofing company, I would immediately put a drone up on there. I would say, hey, it's not going to cost any labor. Let's say, for instance, it's going to take 5 minutes. It's a way to do
the inspection, right?
Right. And then here's the video where you can stand with me. I'm a homeowner. I could stand out there in the front yard with the contractor who's flying over top of the house. And then he could show me on the little CCTV, because you know how it is. They're all chest mounted, or you've got some, television type device that's right there. And it's like, see how it's meeting up with the fascia right here. And then you've got 2 or 3 loose shingles. I can send a guy up there, quick deployed, boom, boom, boom. Knock it out in under 20 minutes instead of running all of this inspection, come down, talk to you. Do you want to get on the ladder and check out and see what's up there? Probably not. So how can you actually, if you don't want to get up there and now supposedly in a blind spot that you can't see from the ground, you've got all of this damage that needs to be repaired, and you yourself don't want to get up and, come on. Put a drone up there. Let me see the images the exact same as what you're seeing down here so that I can make the judgment call as whether or not I want to pay for that. Not just, oh yeah, sure. You mean that there's a unicorn on my roof that's poking holes? Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Like, what are you talking about? That's the other side of this. I'm that guy. Go and inspect. And then if you find something, yeah, I'll get with you in the crawl space. Ooh, there's bugs. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this whole thing is all mine. I have to be able to take care of all of this. You go, you inspect, you show me where the problem is. I will go with you into where that problem is. You show me directly what that problem is. Do I understand 100%? No. Do I know how to fix it myself? No. That's why I called you guys. But again, just because it's a drone doesn't mean that it's got to fly. You can send drones through the pipes, too. Right? That's some of the other stuff. Like,
especially like they've got ones that are so small that they can effectively inspect sewer pipes and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, and I bring this up specifically because I know for a fact that they use drones inside of large conduit piping, right? In semiconductors and stuff like that. So they'll put an inspection drone that can run x-rays from the inside through the pipework to hit the x-ray from the inside out.
Right.
Come on. Anywhere that you wouldn't necessarily be able to put a man, or even, you can't really, you can feed a camera down there, but do you have the same autonomy in feeding a camera down a pipe as being able to actually put the x-ray machine essentially mounted in a drone to go down to that specific weld to x-ray it from the inside out? And that's pretty astounding. No matter what, you got to have an operator on the drone, and you got to have a welder.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
And the fitter, of course. I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of a really good fitter. if you don't fit that shit right, then the welder can't come through and make it happen. So kind of half of the X-ray.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got a little bit of soft spot for the welders that are out there because I grew up with a couple of them. Quick shout out to Brian and Chad. Thank you guys for listening and being a part of the show. But it's interesting, though, because a lot of the work that we do with 5 Paragraph is all skilled labor, small business. We're focused on skilled labor, small business, looking to expand primarily right now through franchise or licensing options. Anybody can buy the book. It's available at 5paragraph.com. If you yourself want to get into business or have a business idea for how you could incorporate your drones, by all means, write a 5-paragraph business plan. Check it out at 5paragraph.com. But, you know, it's crazy, man, the ability that we've got. I mean, we've even got, like, have you seen the Drone Racing League? I'm not really sure.
No, I haven't seen that, but that's kind of funny.
Dude, okay, so you're a sports team owner. You're a football sports team owner. You got an off season. Every sport has an off season. So they're always doing things during the off season, right? Especially during the summer when the season starts to pick back up. That's why everybody's like, oh yeah, we start our spring football in April. And it's because they're trying to get year-round coverage, right, on the team. And so I'm not sure who the owner of the Miami Dolphins is, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong out there, and you guys are big into the drone racing, but I believe it was started in Miami. But the entire stadium where people sit normally is set up as a drone racing track through the entire stadium. Through like where all of the vendors are and everything else like that, through the tunnels where the teams go, through the locker room, all of this other stuff. They're racing drones through the entire thing. And it's pretty damn cool. I mean, it's cool to watch. I guess you get pretty dizzy watching the videos.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching some video. Like, they've got these epic race courses set up in, like, factories and...
yeah.
Dude, it's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
They're flying with quadcopters.
Well, and, you know, you're not experiencing... For me, I'm a guy who has to experience the speed.
Right.
You know, if you're not experiencing the speed, you might as well be playing a video game that's got higher stakes. That's just me.
So they've got events in Miami, Atlanta, and New Orleans. This is like the professional.
Yeah. And they're flying with like VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I mean by I want to feel the speed. Put me in front of one of those high-speed fans or something.
Sponsorship. You know? You've even got like sponsorship. You've got the Air Force, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the sponsors. BMW, ESPN, Fox Sports, Swatch. God, Jesus, remember Swatch?
Oh, yeah, of
course. Swatch watches.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that funny? These freaking things. That's kind of badass. And you can watch them on iTunes.
Yeah.
And other places. Holy shit. It's crazy. I'm not going to watch it. I can't even watch NASCAR. But let alone, I mean, I like not to get off topic, but I like the idea of NASCAR. But for some reason, I just can't watch it.
Yeah. Well, NASCAR it's like a lot of sports. It's better in person.
Yeah. No, I have been to plenty of, track races, and it is. When you're in person, it's freaking awesome.
I mean, that many cars, it's an awe-inspiring thing when one high-performance vehicle goes past you doing about 180 miles an hour. But to have the whole pack go past you, well, that's a whole nother experience. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. See, we're going to start to see more of that, I believe. We're going to start to see more drone support in regard to motorsports in general. You know, I'm maybe not necessarily NASCAR. Like, there's enough camera angles and enough going on that the spotter up top, as well as the crew chief and anybody else that's involved, can see a lot of those angles. But it's just going to be that much more. And I mean, me personally, being a hockey fan, American hockey it's not really shot appropriately. It's shot by like 6 to 8 cameras.
Yeah.
Depending. It's not shot the same way that Canadian hockey is shot. They have 16 cameras on average. And they have the wire cameras that go over top of the ice. And, you can follow a guy on a coast-to-coast play, but you're still only seeing it from that angle. And it would be kind of cool if it's perfected to see what it looks like. Maybe drone inside of an ice arena wouldn't necessarily be the greatest thing in the world. Maybe an open air arena or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm not a drone pilot, but yeah, man. I mean, it's really intriguing because I don't think I ever shared this one, but we were launching a Dragon Eye in Victorville. And Dragon Eyes, when we were using them in 06, they were kind of all the rage. They were one of those things where they were trying to figure out how to create a basic unit style, how do I put it, UAV, just a unit style UAV. And now they have the itty bitty little ones that are essentially like helicopters, and you can just toss them out there. But the Dragon Eye was a kit that you put all together, right? And then you had this sling kind of a thing, and you got it going, and then you launched it, whatever. So, oh my god. So we launch this thing, and it goes, stalls itself out, curls itself over the way that you see any other terribly flown piece of equipment go. It takes off, flies right up, and then turns itself over and smashes itself back into the deck. It's like, oh god. I've responded to where it's like, oh yeah, we lost a drone out in the zone. And now you've got to go out and pick up the drone. Like, yay. That's where... Just put a self-destruct in it. We're gonna be fine. Just put a thermite grenade in that motherfucker so that we don't have to risk an entire squad to go out and get this thing. But that happened. So, more than once that happened.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about the perfect thing to booby trap? Come on. Drone falls out of the sky. I mean, what are they going to do? These fuckers don't even listen to music. It's not like they're going to turn around and reverse engineer the damn thing.
Right. I mean, now because you also have boats that are remote controlled drone boats.
Oh, yeah.
There's all kinds of nefarious shit you can do with that. They even have subs.
Yep.
There's all kinds of nefarious shit that you can do with those, too. If terrorists were fucking smart.
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to go there,
but without going too high speed, low drag as far as the tech crowd is concerned, you also have the ability through a variety of different types of software to where it's only internal to that mechanism. Neither one of them attached to the internet, right? So it's only a radio communication signal. Can it be hacked that way? Sure. Can it be deviated off course through GPS? Yes. There are a number of different systems that are inside of these things that, yes, can be toyed with, but then there are also a number of different systems internally. Let's just use a broad term, say blockchain, to where you compartmentalize your drones. So even if, there's technology nowadays to where you can set up a mesh network of drones, right? And this is something that I believe it was Qualia Technologies.
Like a swarm.
Like a swarm. So Qualia makes the little chips that go inside pretty much all of that stuff. So if you're going to run anything like a Raspberry Pi or Arduino or anything else like that, or if you want to make a mesh network of drones, these chips are perfect for it. And they're the ones who make the little, little popcorn chip that goes in everything. So these things, it can be a swarm that is mapping essentially a field that is landing in certain areas and taking nitrate samples, whatever the case may be, but you have a mesh that is working collectively. Why does that matter? If one drone goes out to the corner of the field and then works its way across, or even if a multitude of drones go out and work their way across, each one is going to be a different operator who's working solely on their own, and then they're all going to have to sync at some point in time data-wise. So creating a mesh that can go out to the corners of a field, let's say, for instance, and then work samples in various ways. You can essentially take the field, put it up on your screen, draw across, this is how I want, to capture metrics because of the way that the sun moves and erosion and, my field is tiled and all of these other different factors that play into it. Now you can simultaneously deploy essentially like a battalion of drones. They all take the data, they all come back. It's one unique function, and they operate as a swarm. So, yeah, it can be a freaky thing. Like any other piece of technology, you're always going to have Luddites. Look it up. Luddite is somebody who vehemently opposes technology, so much so that they're willing to go through violent means and measures to prevent other people from using technology. Sound very Taliban-like? It is. So, proceed with caution. That's the way. War just fires everything up. War just rapidly produces everything. So, but therein lies the point. We've been using all of these tools in a variety of different ways, and the civilian market's been on it. Well, my God, man. You have so much zinc that's in the Hindu Kush mountain, it's insane. And now all of us are rolling around in electric cars, and the number one ingredient in a battery is zinc. Come on. And then not all of them, but there are a lot of electric car batteries that are manufactured in Dow. And it's a different company. It's all under the Dow holding company. It's back in my hometown in Midland. If you don't believe me, I'll go snap a photo of it. It's right across the street from where I used to work. But it's interesting, though, how...
Don't get me started on that.
Right? That's this... you can understand, like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta leave. These people are crazy. But yeah, man. Drones. Drone technology in general. I know that you folks out there have your own sea stories pertaining to. By all means, leave them in the comment section. We really do appreciate it when you leave it on the website. It's just a hell of a lot easier. We have a lot going on. And when you guys all go back to the website, we put more stuff on the website than we do on the show notes out at iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, all of those other aggregators that you guys listen to us. You're seeing the basic type stuff. Come on over to Cigars and Sea Stories. We've got more blog pieces, other stuff like that. And as you're seeing out there in the whole nether sphere, we're doing a lot more in relation to 5paragraph.com. We are helping out Hakoa. They're the Hakoa Home Repair Network. Check them out, hakoa.5paragraph.com, hakoa.5paragraph.com. If you yourself are interested in maybe being, involved in drone aviation, doing home inspection and stuff like that, I haven't ran a business plan on that yet. I would love to talk with you about it. Let's talk about the business plan on doing home inspections with drones. That's pretty cool. Yeah, get in touch with us. That's what we're all about. So, but yeah. Bennett, you still with me over there?
I am.
Yeah, I noticed that you had some background stuff going on there, buddy. Did you have a drone fly in?
Jesus Christ, yes.
Yeah? Was that what it was?
No.
Can you imagine
Sort of.
If I gave my son a drone, he would probably just pick up toys in the backyard. Like, pick up your toys. Yeah, no problem. Right? Send the drone out there with his hook on it.
Absolutely. Really cool.
He was waving at me through... I'm in the studio right now, and I can see through the little glass on here. Like, hey, buddy. Oh, my God. Love it. Folks, if you have not already done so, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast right now. If you like what we're doing, give us your thoughts. Give us your review. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what we're, what we can improve by all means. Your comments make the show. That's how we do it. So, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. Bennett, do you have a factoid for these guys and gals? Or did we
really the first, I was looking at this, so the first type of drones used by the United States military, right, were used back in the 20s and 30s, man. They were called remotely flown target aircraft, and they used them to practice firing battleship guns.
Wow.
And the name of the one was called the Fairy Queen. and then the ones that they used after that were, they called them like the Queen Bee target aircraft.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
World War II?
World War, what? No, the 20s and 30s.
20s and 30s. So, Jesus.
Yeah. So really though, the first like unmanned like weapons that, and I don't know if this is the first, but it's recorded, but Austria sent unmanned bomb-filled balloons to attack Venice in 1849.
Wow.
So you have balloons, right? Obviously. So the first aircraft, though, like truly like UAV, first like remotely piloted vehicle was actually developed by a guy who is Reginald Denny.
Wow. Jesus.
So we've been, you know who Reginald Denny is?
We've almost been doing this for 100 years.
Yeah. So, and then more of them emerged during World War II, used both to train anti-aircraft gunners, and they flew attack missions. Germany produced and used various UAV aircraft during the war, jet engines, all kinds of stuff that they used to actually attack things. So, wow. Pretty crazy, man.
That is. God, that's amazing. Well, and it's funny, you mentioned Reginald, and then, what is her name? I should know. Hedley Lamarr.
Yep.
Hedley Lamarr invented radar.
Yeah.
And she also did a number of different things that we would now use for Bluetooth technology. Which when she originally developed radar, one of the first things that they did is created a radar-controlled boat. So Tesla, remember, he did an electric-controlled boat. Remember how he would steer that around and other stuff like that?
Right. Well, he was also talking about UAVs as like a fleet of unmanned aerial combat vehicles, and that was back in like 1915 that he started talking about that.
Yeah.
You know, so crazy. All right. So this is where I'm going to leave it. In 1973, during the Yom Kippur War, Israel used UAVs as decoys to spur the opposing force into wasting anti-aircraft missiles.
Huh. Yep.
That's pretty cool, right? I'm just saying, send them up. Freaking, that's crazy. So Egypt and Syria used them. So yeah. Either way, they used them to lure, because otherwise the surface-to-air missiles were freaking wreaking havoc on the Israeli fighters, and then they started using UAVs, and then they blew through their missiles. So then the Israeli fighters could come in and drop shit.
Brilliant.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Well, there you go, folks. That's why you listen all the way to the end of the episode. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. We are sending out reviews to you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing to the newsletter. We will be doing more mail-out based on capabilities, let's say, for instance. So we've gone through some internal brain housing group change around, all of that other good stuff, so that way we can, well, frankly, benefit you guys, because it makes everybody's lives that much easier. But go ahead, subscribe to the podcast at Cigars and Sea. If you are interested in becoming a Hakoa unit owner, or if you yourself are interested in the 5-paragraph business plan, just go to hakoa.5paragraph.com. Nice little video on there. You can see exactly what Hakoa is, hakoa.5paragraph.com. If you're interested in that, just simply click I'm interested in Hakoa unit ownership. If you're not, just simply click that you're interested in the 5-paragraph if that's something that you would like to chat with us about. If you're interested in the 5-paragraph business plan, you would like to get rolling in your own business plan, check it out right now at 5paragraph.com. The book is available on Amazon. It's only $20. Matter of fact, we're per the needs of Amazon, so you can go out there and find it for $56 is the highest I've seen it priced, or as low as $14.95. And again, that is a self-published thing. That is something that we put together, and we put it out into the environment, and that is all us. We don't go through anybody else. So thank you so much for being a part of it, and thank you for purchasing the book. And if you're so inclined and want to run your own expansion, get in touch with us. Will we be broadening that market base? Absolutely. If you would like us to help, create the operations and do a lot of these other different things, that's all coming down the line. We're working with our clientele that would like to expand their skilled labor, small business oriented skilled labor, small business through license or franchising options. That's where we're at right now. Let us get market realization in a bigger way, and then we will broaden that spectrum. I've mentioned before that we're going to be doing e-courses, that we're going to be doing certifying courses. We are. It's all in the works. It's all happening. It's all being put together behind the scenes right now. And if you are interested in 5 Paragraph, check out 5paragraph.com. Follow us at 5 Paragraph on social media and all of that other good stuff. So if you're more the business-oriented kind of mindset, follow us over there. But still, by all means, enjoy the sea stories. We're going to keep everything rocking and rolling. So we're here for you. Folks, please subscribe, rate, review the podcast Time Now, and thank you to all of our collaborators who we mentioned earlier in the show: Heroes Media Group, Spartan Media, McPherson Marketing Group. We've mentioned Hakoa several times, and a lot of our other collaborators that are out there that don't necessarily get mentioned on every episode. You guys and gals, you make the trains run on time. That's the easiest way to put it. Thank you. Oh, man. Good times. Bennett, good episode. I love your body, baby.
Yeah, man.
And on that note, we cue the music.